Yay! Hi, everyone. Welcome to Ginger Runner Live, episode number 331. Tonight will be a fun episode because we get to bring on a fellow creator. A guest that we have not had on the show in our 330 plus episodes here. So excited to finally bring on Jamison Michael, who's been a longtime YouTuber, been in the game for a number of years, reviewing shoes, reviewing gear, a YouTuber that I've been watching for a number of years. And I love his sense of humor, his ability to create everything that he talks about with shoes. I'm like sitting here nodding my head and everything like that. So Jamison Michael is just a fantastic YouTube creator. We're very excited to have him on the show today. Sit back, relax, everyone. Ginger Runner Live, episode 331 begins now.
Ginger Runner.
Yeah.
Yay! What is up, everybody? Welcome to Ginger Runner Live, episode number 331. Thank you for taking some time out of your busy Mondays to spend a little bit of it with us. Tonight, we have a fantastic episode planned because we get to bring on someone who creates for YouTube, who's been in this space for a number of years, someone that like we can really relate to in that sense. The conversation, in my mind, the conversation can go any one of like 15 different ways.
And maybe it will.
Which is great. We can talk about gear. This guy is super talented when it comes to gear reviews. He knows what he's talking about. He's reviewed all sorts of products out there, all different shoes. We're going to talk to him about what are his favorites. Let's be honest. We all want to know when it comes to shoe reviewers what their favorites are. He's a content creator. You know, he makes fun movies and stuff like that for YouTube. He's got a great sense of humor. He's been in the game for a number of years, as I mentioned, and works very hard. So it's going to be a fun show tonight, which I can't wait to introduce our wonderful guest, Jamison Michael, to the show. But before we introduce Jamison, of course, there's some other individuals on the show. Myself, hi, I'm Ethan, and the beautiful Kim.
Hi, Ethan.
Hi, how are you?
Good. What's up, everyone? Kim Tashima Newberry here. Welcome. If you're new to the show, which I do see some new names in the chat room already, welcome. We'll be bringing Jamison on live in just a second. So if you do have questions, please ask them in the chat room.
Yeah. We're live. And I know throughout the interview that we'll have plenty of questions, both from Jamie's viewers, our viewers, and bring them on. Kim will pull as many aside as possible. People are already asking why the sky is blue. So it's great. Great question, Adam.
Hard-hitting
stuff. Also, before we introduce our wonderful guests tonight, we do have some individuals that we'd like to thank at the top of the show. Those are our Patreon subscribers. We call them the GR crew, Ginger Runner crew. They are the whole reason that we're even able to do this. I know Jamison could probably attest. YouTube doesn't pay the bills, but our viewers are our huge support system. So a huge shout out to our Patreon tonight. And Jamie also has a Patreon, which we'll mention later in the show, and we can support him and everything like that too. But our individual GR crew members, we just absolutely love them. They've created this incredible community. They're all runners, athletes, and people from different walks of life and stuff like that. So if you'd like to join the crew, you can just go to patreon.com/thegingerrunner. One individual in particular we like to mention during the top of every show because he is going above and beyond in his support, but also he is just crushing some of his personal goals. He, at the age of 50, ran his first marathon, then trained and ran his first ultra. Brian Sands is his name, and he is currently training for the Cocodona 250-mile endurance run in Arizona. This coming weekend, he will be partaking in his DIY, stands for do it yourself, 100-mile journey. He will be doing his very first 100-miler this coming weekend. We cannot wait to follow along.
I can't wait to see Brian crush it this weekend.
Going to absolutely crush it. And that's part of the training process for the Cocodona 250. So, Brian, thank you so much for the support. But also the GR crew is here to support you this coming weekend. So keep us posted on how that all unfolds. And on our fresh, new, and shiny Discord server, there's some great support systems already in place for those who are Patreon supporters and stuff like that. Without further ado, let's just introduce this guy.
Let's do it.
He's been waiting super patient. Without further ado, coming to us from, I still believe, Texas. I still think he's in Texas. I don't think he's moved out of Texas yet. Jamison Michael.
Yay!
How are you, my friend?
First off, this is a big moment for myself. I've been a fan of this channel for like ever. And to think that I'm here today, 2020's been saved. Just like that. So many L's have been taken, but this takes it. This is it. I made it.
I did not. If this was all it would take, dude, we would have had you on the show like March 20th. Every day, like we would have done this at the beginning. Dude, it really is a pleasure to have you on because we've talked about you on the channel a number of times, and this is long overdue getting you on because as a YouTube creator, I know it's a lot of hard work. It doesn't matter if you are a reviewer or if you're a vlogger or what realm of the YouTube space you're in. It is work. It's a lot of work. I'm not saying that to get people to pity YouTube creators or anything like that, but it is just an amount of work that people really are passionate about. And you put in the work, man. How long have you been doing this? And let's get a little bit of history into Jamison Michael and Jamie's reviews. How long have you been doing this on the platform?
Yes. Like YouTube running, I would say this is like my 4th year, which is crazy to think because I still feel new.
Yeah.
But then I'm like seeing new creators come on the platform and they're like, Jamison OG. And I'm like, wait, it's been 4 or 5 years now. So I guess going on in 4 or 5 years, 2020, 2021's coming up.
Has it gotten easier? Has it gotten more difficult? Basically, since you've been on it for 4 years, obviously the algorithm's changed. What's it been like over the course of those last 4 years for you?
I feel like YouTube comes in phases. Like that fun phase where you kind of just put your foot in the water and you're like, oh, this is kind of fun, you know? No one's critiquing you. Everyone's just happy to see you. You might get a few hundred followers. You're like, yes, this is great, fantastic. I have online friends. And then, you know, it starts becoming bigger and people start having expectations. And that's when it gets real. And then once the brands start getting involved and reviewers and people start getting involved, it gets a little stressful at times, as you guys probably know. So I'm at that phase where I'm like, oh, well, we're here now. So yeah, it is definitely a journey.
I mean, it's exciting to see growth in other channels too. I mean, you're almost at 100,000 subscribers. You're almost at that milestone, which let's be honest, we're in a niche. We're in kind of this small subsect of the YouTube community where we could put out banger videos constantly every single week, but because of the content, it's very specific, especially when you start talking about reviewing of products and stuff like that. But you're almost at 100,000 subscribers, which is a giant audience. You obviously have a voice and a following that people enjoy and want to follow. What do you think your take on things is? What's sort of your approach to your reviews, to your videos that might allow our viewers maybe aren't familiar with your channel to sort of see how you separate yourself and you make great content?
Yeah. I feel like my goal is always to entertain and educate. So a little bit of giving information on an easy to digest platform. So more so, what is the shoe for? What's new about it? What's the good and bad about it? And then make it entertaining because people don't want to watch just someone just talking about nothing. Like, I think that's kind of what made you special in the first place. That's why, like, when I was going on YouTube a long time ago looking for shoes, it's like, this guy's funny. He's entertaining. He's being real. He's enthused about what he's saying. Whether he loves it or hates it, like, I leave either smiling, laughing, or going through, like, or getting angry at you, like, oh, man, I love that shoe. He hates it. But yeah, I'm trying to get that reaction out of someone. So it's always just being genuine, but still being fun to watch. Just have fun with it. So I feel like once I do that, that's kind of what my whole theme is. Just having fun and then talk about shoes and how I feel about them.
Yeah. There are always a number of challenges too that sort of present themselves in like consistency and quality of views, or not views, but quality of videos and different things like that. What have been some of the biggest challenges since the beginning that you've had to face, whether that's like, you know, coming up with opinions about a certain product or not having product to review, or what's been some of the biggest hurdles that you've had to overcome?
Yeah, I think starting off, it was just getting the shoes. Like,
yeah,
getting a one pair of shoes is fine, two. But when people start saying, can you review this and that and the Adidas and the Nike, I was spending a lot of money up front for just getting shoes. I didn't have any access to brands or anything. But at the same time, you know, you want to be able to make content that people want to see and they're requesting. I mean, that's your fan base, essentially. So you want to make sure you give the people what they want, as I always say.
Yeah.
So it was just a money thing of just getting product and reviewing it. And then the worst thing ever is when you put your own money up front and then you don't like the product. So it's a bad feeling. But then it just became quality. It's just, you know, YouTube's growing so much faster. People are getting more creative and you gotta be different.
Yeah.
The biggest thing was like I'm a fan of you. I watch you, but I can't be like you. I have to do my own thing. I have to do things my way. So it's just finding that similar niche, but like also be different.
Mm.
So, the whole Jamison approved style and just the visual cinematics of showing the running. And I was like, well, that's something different that I'm not seeing as much on somewhere else. So maybe I can do that. Kind of have your own lane. That's always a challenge, trying to be different, but still get the information out there, essentially.
I think that's what really works too. And what really drew me to your content is that it is different. Because there's certainly I'm not going to disparage any content that's being created out there, because I think our space is growing. We're seeing more shoe reviewers. We're seeing more content creators in the running space, and it is welcomed and wonderful. Some of the best channels that I've found in the last couple of years have been small channels that have really, really grown in the last couple of years through their content, whether it's vlog content, shoe content, review content, anything like that. I mean, I'm thinking off the top of my head, I did channels that I really love right now. Jamison was one of those. There's a video about a year ago. Mediocre Amateur was another channel like that. And at that time, they had just a couple of 1,000 subscribers, and it's just grown in the last year because their content is continuing to get better and better. And that yours is continuing to get better and better. Do you find yourself putting more work into the content, or have you managed to find that sort of rhythm in the content where it's like, I know how I'm going to review this shoe. Let's shoot this, shoot that, shoot this. Let's edit it, and we're good to go.
And I think just kind of dovetailing on what you're asking, there's a question from the chat room from Marie Claude. And Marie Claude says, Jamison, how do you feel your channel has evolved as you've gained experience? So I think that's kind of in the same vein.
Great question.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think even my format has changed since I started. It was at first just me visually showing the shoe and talking over the voiceovers, but the whole time you're seeing the shoe being run in. And then the more I grew, I've had a new audience who was like, all right, we see the shoe, but who's talking? Who is this guy in the background telling us this? And they're like, well, we want to see him. So I said, well, I'm gonna find ways to kind of show my face and still have the audience see the shoe. So I started doing the whole post review thing where like I give you the information in a fun, easy, digestible way, and then I come back and I give you all the nonsense, all the ranting and kind of the fun stuff. And now it's kind of becoming more of just me talking about the shoe because I have the visuals in there, but now people want to just know about how I feel and have those little in the moment, impromptu moments with my guest or whoever I had on with the review. And yeah, it's constantly changing, and it's kind of like reinventing yourself every so often. You can't do the same thing forever. You got to add something to it, add some spices. Eventually, it just gets kind of stale. So I'm still to this day figuring out, oh, what can I do or add something different. I actually have a video coming out this week that's more of a live vlog review style, something different. I was just like, let's see how this goes. Just throw it out there, and if people hate it, they'll let me know. But if not, we can add it to the regular broadcasting.
One of the things that I learned early on, Philip DeFranco has been in the YouTube game for a really, really long time. If you're unfamiliar with this channel, you're probably new to YouTube. He's been on the platform for a long time, kind of dealing with YouTube news or just general news style content. But one thing that he talked early on in the early days of YouTube was that people get so caught up in what they think the audience wants to see them do that they sort of pigeonhole themselves in that sameness. So if something they've done works, they start only doing that rather than, what if your creative brain starts going, hey, maybe I should throw my face on, like if you're doing shoe reviews and your voiceover, maybe throw my face in there a couple times or that sort of thing. Like if you have those creative ideas, it's easy to go, oh, no, because people only want to see this one thing. But what ends up happening is you say no to these ideas, which could be very big, wonderful, beautiful ideas in the product. And so seeing your content evolve like that has been just a joy, because it's cool to see a creator continue to evolve what they create, how they create it. And the overall quality has gone up a ton, man. Like I can't imagine the level up in gear and stuff, how that must be, like camera gear and the back end gear. I can imagine that's been a really fun process too.
Yeah, it's definitely fun. I started off with an iPhone SE.
Yes.
So I had the iPhone SE, it was just the new phone that was cheap for me to get.
Yep.
I recorded everything in 1080p and 30 frames per second. Didn't know what I was doing and kind of just going. But yeah, it's like the quality does go up after a while, but it's just I learned from doing YouTube longer and longer, and even watching you, it's just I started finding a more of a love for like the process of the equipment, and I'm a camera geek now. Like I probably watch more camera reviews and like audio equipment and how things work and editing techniques and more than running shoe reviews nowadays. But
Right.
it's just like it's like a challenge of saying how can I make this better or make it improve or just get that lighting right.
You can attest to this being true in this house as well. I think my editing computer has more tabs open watching color grading videos or camera review videos or like the gear to make our videos. Those are the videos that I watch, which is, I feel like I could sit and watch those for hours.
I feel like the majority of their views are content creators.
Yeah.
Just like,
I mean, it's
like
brilliant.
eating it up.
It's brilliant. So it's like creating the content for content creators is like, oh, that's it. That's the niche. That's what. That's
so
what
funny
we
you
should
say
have
you're
done.
watching a color grading video. I was literally watching one last night trying to color grade
Yeah?
some footage, trying to learn how to record in vlog and like, you know.
Can I
funny.
ask, do you remember the creator? Do you remember who it was?
I don't remember actually. I probably watched like 6 videos back to back, to be honest.
Yeah.
So
Also,
all
the
those capture
algorithm will feed you some random, like I was,
it knows.
the algorithm is a weird thing as of late too. And I'm sure you can attest to this. Like, was watching some camera video. It fed me, hey, here's how to color grade those videos from that camera. And then it started feeding me weird, like, van life stuff. And I was like, well, yeah, I'll watch some van life stuff. And then you start falling down 6 different rabbit holes. And by the time you're done, you're like a Teletubbies on a Teletubbies marathon or something. I was like, how did I end up here?
Bad.
Do you find yourself getting viewers and audience from other content or other parts of YouTube? Like, do people go, hey, I've never watched a video before, but this is exciting? Or like, where do you think you get most of your viewers from these days?
Yeah, I think initially it was just like people who are into running, but then like say I review like an Adidas Boost shoe, that has a whole different demographic of audience, the sneaker kids as I call them, and then they start kind of like saying, oh, well, that's kind of interesting. Like I know about the Ultra Boost, but no one ever talks about how it feels running in it. So I kind of had that audience come in, and then I kind of have a little bit of the audience who are into like the running and training aspect of it. Like, oh, you're training for a half marathon. That's interesting. And then I noticed, at least from the numbers show and the analytics, female viewers. I think a big thing was, I mean, even today, there's not that many, but female like representation in YouTube running. I had a few of my friends, Mary Beth, as some of you guys probably know, my friend Megan, just having them talk and speak their minds about what they think about a shoe has brought like a female audience to the channel of like, oh, I want to see what she thinks about it. And I think that's cool. So I think it's coming in different ways for different reasons, but somehow it's just one big giant collaboration of people who just want to know about shoes and the different reasons. But hey, they're there. So
Take it,
about
right?
yourself,
Like, go ahead.
like, what do you think your audience is? Like, where do they come from?
I mean, I think that also evolves because I think early on, I mean, the content sort of changed a bit too, where I've really noticed it in the last maybe year or two. The channel started with reviews, buying my own gear, using it, reviewing it, posting it to the channel. And like we were together and you would be like, what are you doing in the garage?
we both started just doing written blogs.
Right?
Because there was not,
video.
this was before like, it was super common. And there was like nobody really doing reviews at that point. And that's how we started, was doing like race reports and written reviews. And that evolved into
video stuff. And then, GoPros were, man, this is what really ages me, is like, I have a GoPro One sitting on my set and I keep it there because that is the camera that changed my life. And I don't say that in that sort of like, a GoPro changed my life. That camera is the first camera that I could bring with me on a trail run that actually sort of was able to tell a story, or allowed me to tell a story what a trail run was, or a marathon. And so that early content was me documenting races and the things that I wanted to hold on to those memories of. So 20 years from now, I could look back and, tell my kids or grandchildren, like, look what grandpa did. He ran a marathon. You wouldn't think so by the 6-pack he has, but he ran a marathon, or he did this ultra. And so I think early on, it was people who also were taking on that challenge or like, oh, I really want to be a trail runner, that sort of thing. And now I think it's a lot of trail runners because our lives have really evolved into trail running lifestyles. And I think I'm sure a lot of road runners, I do road shoes still, as you know, and I know you do as well. So we do get a road audience from time to time, but a lot of the time it's like, hey, you need to review trail shoes. You need to go back to trail shoes. Like I'm not here for road shoes. But then you'll see the comments of like, stop doing trail shoes. Give me more road shoes. It's a lose-lose. You'll never win, right?
Facts. Reach.
How do you navigate that stuff? So like, you have a lot of gear to review. You probably have a constant sort of flow of product. And how do you sort of decide and determine order of elimination? Like, how do you decide what doesn't make the cut? Or do you just do everything? And then how do you decide what videos maybe get more attention and more time versus others?
Yeah, that's definitely like the balance that I'm having all the time. It's like you get something that you want to review, but then something else comes out and it's more important. Like let's say right now I'm gonna review this watch. I haven't opened it yet, but I haven't. And then tomorrow Nike announces the Vaporfly 15% comes up tomorrow. Well, that's gonna take priority because everyone wants to see that shoe, everyone wants to know about that item, and then over a while this becomes on the back burner. So it's just a matter of kind of predicting what's going to do well as far as like viewership. I mean, you don't want to review everything that's no one wants to watch. Like, and that's kind of sometimes the struggle because there's shoes out there that I would do reviews on, but if no one wants to know about it or care for it, it's like, well, I don't want to spend 12 hours between filming, editing, audio, color grading, and just for, a few people to say, cool, I'll leave a like on that channel.
Yeah.
It's like, so it's kind of like what's worth your time as far as like what do people want to see versus what do I want to make. It's find that balance because there's always things I want to do, but some things are probably just off the wall. So it's kind of like find a balance of do some videos for yourself, for your audience, and kind of in between.
I love it, and it's someone kind of mentioned in the chat room here just that like working on instinct, and it's funny that it seems, I guess. Easy in a way, but that is sort of how it works. I guess at some point you probably have to decide like, yeah, I think people want to see this sort of review and maybe people won't enjoy this one as much. So maybe I'll stick to this one. So I bet there is some sense of like instinct where you know what your audience wants to see. And it's, the more you engage with them, the more you know what they want. There's a couple of questions here in the chat. Go, yeah, exactly.
I'll say even now it's like what they want to see and who they want to see in the review.
Yeah.
I get so many requests saying, we bring, Gretchen back, bring your friend Goose back, bring this person back because there's different personalities that review the shoes and they want to see that person speak. And it's just like, all right, I got to find this product on this time frame and get this person. It's like so many check boxes nowadays. It used to be easy, You just stuff. Now it's so complicated.
It's funny because early on I was like, well, who am I to review shoes? Why does my opinion matter? And the way I fought that and combated that in my head was you're a regular runner. You're a dude that, you're not crushing records. You're not back of the pack. You're that guy that's in the middle, mid-pack elite. And I think more people can sort of relate to that, whether you're a 3-hour marathoner or you're a 5-hour marathoner. You're sort of in that middle zone and you can sort of appreciate thoughts and things about products. And early on in the game, it's kind of like, oh, well, how many other people should I bring in to also review gear? And like Kim also reviews gear and like how many different voices should we have? And I just got scared. I got scared of like, oh, there's gonna be so many voices that there's gonna be so many people talking about different shoes in different ways. Is that just gonna add confusion? But what you've managed to do is bring in different people with different levels of experience and really provided a real honest sort of perspective on gear. And it's been great. I can imagine that there's people that are like, we need to see more of this person and that person. And you're just like, okay, it's just going to take some time to make it. I got to call them up and find out their schedule too, right?
Yeah.
Got to align schedules.
Like they're in Oregon. I'm in Austin. It's a long walk. Be patient with me. Thanksgiving, they'll fly back, maybe.
There was a question in here, and you and I just talked about this before the show, and which is funny. But Rock asks, do either of y'all actually enjoy running? And I think this is an interesting question because I have seen it on other channels, and I think there was a comment on one of my videos like 6 months ago or something about joy of running. And I'll let you field this question first, Jamison, because I know that you were on a bit of a break. You're back. You're creating content again. Do you enjoy running, and what is it about it that you enjoy, especially in combination with the gear review and stuff like that?
Man, running's a thing where it's like the easy answer is yes, I love running, but there's just definitely phases where it's like it could be a blessing and a curse. Whereas like I started off running, high school and then even like through college, and for a while I was always in this mindset of competitive, get first place, get faster, train harder, just it's always be ahead of the person beside you. But then like the competitiveness kind of just got like you get so burnt out. You're always on the edge about being faster, faster, faster. So once I graduated, it was just a whole new mindset. I was so burnt out from running. I was like, okay, I don't want to run anymore. Like I'm just done. But then you start finding new ways to love it again in a new way. So it was just like, oh, there's a community of people out here who just enjoy it for fun and just do it for fitness or for health or for social reasons. And I said, that's kind of cool. Like I want to try that. And then I kind of like regained my love for running, where it's just the community of it and just being part of something bigger than yourself and just seeing the benefits that people see from it, whether it's like, these 5K charities and just seeing good things come out of it. And, I think running is always in theory, it should be a very inexpensive hobby until you start getting these fancy earbuds and all that. But, shout out to J-Bird. Your plug? Yeah, it was just a matter of just finding, reliving what I used to love in a different way. So yeah, now I love it. I love just being around it at events and marathons, and I don't like race that often, but I'll go to races and just cheer my friends on and just being part of the like capturing that moment. And I'm getting more into doing photography and stuff. So it's just like now I'm more like the camera guy and get my friends running and saying, "Look, man, you did good," and just being a cheerleader for like all the runners that I see. It just makes me feel good to see that. And yeah, I think I'm definitely back in it where I'm not competitively running, but just enjoying the atmosphere of being around it and just being involved in it.
I love it. What about you? You love running?
I do love running. The progression of my running has been a little strange, but I also think really common. I was not a runner in high school. I was not a collegiate runner. I started running in my mid to late 20s, started really loving it. And then with the big onset of all the running social media that started happening, I found myself not liking running as much. So it was kind of this up and down weird relationship. But I say it's weird, but I think a lot of people have gone through this in the time of social media, Strava, Instagram, and you're kind of having all these outside influences and feeling the pressure. And when you have any kind of presence on social, it starts to bring in those other, the unwanted feedback that you tend to get. So I went through a phase where I was getting a lot of that, in general. For me personally, it was coming from a lot of men that I didn't know personally who felt like they needed to tell me how to run and how to be better. So in the last couple of years, I've just pulled away from things like Strava and I've found my love again. So I do love running.
Good. Yeah. I like it.
Okay.
I think it's great.
All right. That's all we need to
Yeah, I
hear.
was going to ask, how do you guys feel about Strava? Like that's a big thing. That's the number one question I get. It's just, Jamie, why aren't you on Strava?
I've talked about it a little bit before on the show and on Daily Brews and stuff like that. For me, it was a really big, when I DNF'd my first 100-miler attempt, it was shocking. It was shocking to see how many people took personal ownership over what I was doing. And they felt invested enough to be like, well, I've studied all your training and everything you've put on. Like, no wonder you didn't finish. So for me, like mental health wise, it just doesn't make sense for me to be on Strava. I still have mine. I still upload, but majority is I just keep it private, and that's just for my own personal running log.
I get Strava. I love it. I love for what it does, and I love the social community that has come out of it. We have a great GR crew community. We get to follow people from all across the world and see what they are up to. So we love that aspect of it. But there is certainly something that you open yourself up to when you are a running personality, or if you're someone that reviews shoes, and I'm sure you probably can attest to this too, Jamie. It's just like there comes a point where I'm running the pace that I'm running because maybe I'm training for a very specific thing, or maybe we're dealing with the pandemic, so maybe our paces are a little bit slower and we're not putting pressure on ourselves to perform at a certain level. But we get comments regularly of like, dude, you're so slow. What's the point? Why are you even doing that? It's like, what's the point? Like, running is a lot more than just being fast. And so we try our best to just make sure people realize that running is more than being fast. And that sort of, it goes back to the ethos of the channels and everything like that. Are you on Strava? Is that the comment that you get often? Is like, Jamie, I want to follow you. Where's the Strava?
Oh, I'm like me and Kim right here. Same thing. It's just everyone wants to critique and give advice and, break down what you're doing right and doing wrong. And it's just like, it's not that big of a deal. I just want to enjoy my run. Maybe I just want to see how fast or how long I did or just curious. It's like people get so invested in something that's not them. Like you said, they take ownership of what you're doing. And it's just like, I just want to enjoy what I'm doing and for the love of doing it, and not so much. I believe a lot of people are in this competitive nature of Strava. In Austin, it's a really big running community here. And in a way, like Strava almost like makes it to where everything's a competition. Like I ran 40 miles this week. Well, I ran 42. Well, I'm gonna run 44 to get more than him or her. Or how fast is that segment? I want the fastest segment. Oh, this person I don't like ran a faster segment than me. I have to go out there and it's like, well, why are we doing this? Sometimes it can get such. I see the point of Strava and I see the good in it, but just like anything else on the internet, it can be taken to a dark side.
Yeah.
And I'm just to that point where I'm like, all right, I think I'm good. I think I'm good. So I have a Strava. I have my Sunto app, and I kind of look at it every once in a while. I go, still slow, and then I move on.
It's funny because like just with road racing, so we both kind of, I think everyone starts with road racing. People start either
majority of people
probably start in high school or college, let's say that, but maybe they don't. Maybe they run a local 5K or 10K or hell, a half marathon or marathon. And you kind of go through these evolutions of, I want to get a PR in the marathon, or I want to PR the half, or that sort of thing. And you sort of grow as a runner. You find where your joy is the most. And that's one of the reasons that we sort of moved to trail running, was just that this is kind of what I ended up saying for the last couple of years, is after a marathon, people would always ask, oh, dude, what was your time? And then after an ultra marathon, people would be like, dude, how was the time? Like, how was it? As opposed to how fast were you? And it was sort of the shift in mindset that was like, oh, people cared more about the experience than the speed. And it was sort of a mind shift for me. And probably why the channel sort of evolved towards trail was just because we were running more trails, and that was just sort of what we were doing. For you, running, people were in the chat room, and Kim has a bunch of questions here pulled aside we'll get to in a second as well. If you have a question for Jamie, drop into the chat room now. Kim will pull it aside. Are you training for anything right now? Are you just enjoying running for the joy of running? I know you've had some shifts in your life. You've moved. You got a new computer. You had to get a new car. You have all these shifts. Have you been able to train? Are you training for something specific, or is it just running for the joy of it right now?
As of right now, it's just the joy. Like I would like to run maybe a half marathon sometime next year. Just,
cool.
Because I like doing maybe 1 or 2 races a year just to kind of get my feet wet, just to say, all right, that's kind of cool. I passed someone. Watch out, Grandma. But I'm good, mostly for the joy of it. I just like being outside. I think outdoors and being in nature. And I'm finding more interest outside of running too. So I'm like right now, I'm really big on film. Like I just love learning about how to record things. So it's just running, combining with my interest in film. So that's more where I'm focused on this right now. So I run every day. I'm with runners every day, recording running, taking pictures of running. So I still like it, but no, I'm just kind of just enjoying it, not really training for a specific time or a big race.
I love that you're doing that. I love that because I don't think people do it enough. And I don't know if that's, maybe people's mindsets will shift with this year and how everyone's had to treat running a little bit differently in their local communities. But I love that people are sort of finding that grassroots love with the actual sport. I know people love competition. I know people have been craving competition. I get that love. But there is something about just going out and shooting running, you know, grabbing your camera and taking photographs of running or taking video of running or just running for yourself. I love that you're doing it, man. And I love that you're back. I know that the channel, you have a new place. People were talking about, like, people love your new place. So
yeah,
this is
I was
good.
out the game. I mean, I don't want to get too much into personal stuff, but it was like I literally had to move for the permit I was in within like a 3-day notice. I won't get into why. 3-day notice, had to find the cheapest place I could find.
Wow.
So I'm like, all right, cool. I'm moving, 3-day notice. I got there. It was like this, the place was like the size of a closet. Like my gear couldn't fit, my bike couldn't fit.
Yeah.
So I had to put on a bike rack. My bike got stolen when I first got moved there. And then as I was editing videos, I started focusing on YouTube. The computer stopped working. Then my car started having issues. And it was just when it rained, it poured type thing. So as of right now, I have an apartment. I can move. I can stretch out. I got a new computer. Got a new MacBook. I'm poor now for it, but got a new MacBook. And I have a working car. So as of right now, I'm good. I'm well. I'm blessed. I'm broke, but I'm happy. And I'm just so excited to get back into just putting videos out there. At this point, it's funny. You ever get caught in a thing where you put a video out and you kind of like check the views on it to kind of see how it's doing, just out of kind of like curiosity? I would say it's like starting new again. It's like I put a video out. I don't care about views. I'm just happy that something's out. I get a comment. I'm like, yes, I got a comment. It's like just appreciating the little things that I kind of lost when I was always video, views, comment. It's just now I'm just like, whatever. I'm back. It feels good to just enjoy the little things in life again. So it's just, in a weird way, it was a blessing. It let me kind of just change my mindset, kind of get back to the roots of why am I doing this? Your why is always important. So it's just like, why? It's just for fun, for the people, for just the social reasons. I like the social part of it. So, and you know, you help people. And like, it's funny because I was telling you how much like you meant to me as far as getting started. Like you were that regular guy who just said, no, who took that first step to say, I'm a runner, but I'm not the elite. I'm not, a Division I athlete or whatever. It's just, you were a regular guy giving it with a voice. And I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. That's kind of badass. And that's kind of why I started. Like, you could probably go back to your channel 6 years ago and see Jamison Michael comments, just saying, asking dumb questions. So you probably ignore. You probably never reply to me. But you're here now. You're here now. But yeah, I mean, but that was inspiring just to see like a regular person do what you do, and just the storytelling. That's kind of what got me hooked on you. The storytelling aspect. Like I always tell people, I'm like, yeah, like they say who's the best running reviewer? I'm like, that's debatable. But I'm like, as far as like content creator, I feel like you always gotta have like you at the top. It's not just the review; it's the storytelling and how you affect the next person watching it. Like I watched probably a few documentaries. I probably watched one with Kim like 30 times. I heard like 50 milers or 50Ks. I probably watched so many of them, like these 2 or 3 of them. Actually, I was one of the few people who are like, Where Dreams Go to Die, like came out where you can like buy it, the little digital copy. I was like, day one, get it. Watched that like 4 times. Watched it. My mom watched it once with me. It's like, what is this? I was like, shh. Like, he's running. And, like, stuff like that just inspires me so much. So it's like, I always tell people, you're the godfather of like YouTube runners. Because without you, there wouldn't have been another person to kind of step in that space. So like, you got me going. And then I inspire someone else to go. And it's like, you open the gates for this to be a thing. And I think it's pretty cool. So I think you mean a lot to the whole running community. And I think I was supposed to say thank you, just because it's like my outlet, but you kind of showed that it can be a thing for runners to be inspired to do. And me, it's like running film, like one day I want to be like Ethan Newberry kind of thing. So, I mean, some people know I'm working on a documentary right now, like my friend who's training for the Olympic trials and all that. And I would say 99.9% of it is just inspired by like watching your documentaries and saying, okay, it won't be that good, but if I can get it to be half as good as what he did, I'm good. I'm happy. So it's just, it's pretty cool to see like this moment right here is like a big moment for me. Like this is like my YouTube resume highlight of like, all right, this is it. I met the guy that I watched at one point, just as a fan.
I'm basically sitting here crying, man. Like I didn't cut to myself there in the camera because I didn't want to reveal too much. I am a crier. If you're new to this channel and you're a fan of, you're here because of Jamie. That happens from time to time. But I will be totally honest, man. That was, I really appreciate that. It's right back at you, because where I find my inspiration as a creator is from other creators. There's no doubt. And I'm sure you can attest to that too. It's like when you either get to the platform or you've been on the platform for a while, you look to others who are creating stuff and look at what they're doing and what works and what's beautiful, and like seeing what you've done with reviews and how you've used your voice and your like entertainment through the roof. Day one, seeing your reviews, it was clear that you knew how to entertain and educate, which is a difficult thing to do. It's one thing to be knowledgeable in the product. It's another thing to be entertaining. And you're able to balance both of those. And that's special, man. And then on top of that, you've got great filmmaking skills. And I can't wait to see this documentary. I know that you've talked a little bit about it on your channel. And were you trying to raise funds for it? Are you doing a Kickstarter with it, or is it through the Patreon?
Right now, it's through Patreon right now.
Okay.
It's just a matter of getting everything, you know, I'm pretty sure you know how expensive it can get. Just,
yeah, I think
you know, funding,
I think I'm constantly
sponsors.
apologizing. I'm so sorry.
You know, the equipment and just finding resources to help me film.
Yeah.
And like plane tickets for flights, and it's just like it gets very expensive very fast. But it's something that I'm wanting to do because it's one of those things that's a passion project that I've been wanting to do for a while now. And I have the story and I have the resources, and I think, you know, over time I've gained a little bit more of the skill, and I'm ready just to attack it. It's like it's scary, but like I said, I've seen you do it, so it's like okay, it can be done. And so I'm going for it. You know, it's not even a for profit thing. It's really just if I could break even or just come out a small loss, I'm like yes.
Yeah.
I created it. I have it. It's there. Yes.
You'll learn more in that process than you will than like film school or any of that stuff, right? Where Dreams Go to Die was made with one camera, a gimbal that I think I saved up for and bought before. It was like 2 days before the trip. Had to pay out of pocket for the whole thing, and 2 years. You're basically filming stuff for 2 years because of an idea. And I mean, again, it's shot with one camera, my hands. I think Kim had a camera at one point, like I think it was a point and shoot during some of the camp stuff. But like that whole movie was made with like $0 budget, single camera, and just documenting as much as you can. So I can't wait to see what you create, man. Like I just can't wait. And anything we can do to support you, don't hesitate to reach out. And I'm serious when I say that. If there's anything we can do, or the crew can do, or your audience can do, and we'll talk about your Patreon here in a second, because again, we do have some live questions for you. But man, I just want to, before we move on, really appreciate you. Really appreciate what you do and what you do for other creators, because if I'm blown away that I inspired you to some degree. I'm sure I also inspired you to just be better, because you're better than me. I would hope that there are people watching that maybe are looking to Jamison as like, I watch Jamie's reviews, I watch Jamison's videos, and he's going to inspire me to be the next gen. So if you have any words of wisdom for those individuals, say there's someone here watching this show, whether it's a young kid in high school track, or maybe a college cross-country runner, or hell, a 35-year-old, someone living in a no-name place that's just like, I love running, I want to create a YouTube channel. What would you say to them to inspire them to do it?
I would say it's cliche, but just like, don't wait. Just put it out there. The big thing, it's a scary jump. It's a leap of faith to kind of put your personal life and put it to the world can see it and the world can critique it. That's a scary thing. But I would say just, you know, be genuine, be yourself, you know, be inspired, but you don't have to be Jamie Reviews. You don't have to be Ethan Newberry or Kim. You can be yourself, but just put your spin on it. You know, the world's a beautiful place when you have different types of perspectives and, you know, ideas. But yeah, just take your iPhone and, like I said, I started off with the iPhone SE. You start off with a GoPro 1. Sure, we've upgraded now, but it's just that first start. If that GoPro 1 didn't get you going, you wouldn't be where you are now. So a lot of times it's I don't have the equipment, or, I don't have this. And the biggest advice I can say is do not compare yourself. Like that's a whole that you just, in general in life, just do what you're doing for you wanting to do it, and not have to say, well, this person's doing this thing, or he has this camera or that lens, or just do it your way, get it out there, and people will always be able to see how genuine, how fun you are as a person. It's like they'll see through that first.
Mm-hmm.
You can have all the equipment, you can have all the bells and whistles, you can have all that. But if it's not genuine, it's not coming from an honest place, it's just a pretty picture with no meaning. So yeah, just pick up your phone. And I would say these phones are much better than they were like 6 or 7 years ago. You can get a lot
without a doubt. I mean, the fact you can shoot 4K, like 120 frames a second or something on a phone.
Yeah, this thing shoots better than my GH5. I'm like, come
Kids
on.
have it so easy. Kids have it so easy.
Like, you want a live stream? Boom.
Done. Yeah, if you haven't seen our live stream video from the trail yesterday, Kim and I live streamed from the trail. If you haven't watched it, it's on the channel. I loved Jamie's comments in that, by the way. I forget what they were. There's like 2 or 3 of them. I was like, oh no, Jamie's watching. He doesn't know what he's in for. It was really funny.
It's a good one.
Gosh. I like laugh so hard. I don't want to spoil it for those who didn't see it, but like, I definitely recommend just go watch it. I mean, it was probably the best live in 2020. It wasn't too long.
Oh, it's very short.
But,
yeah, gets right to the point.
It was a great live. And I said, I'm always lurking in your lives, always. Like, even if I'm not commenting, I'm always like watching, like listening to you as I'm playing like Call of Duty Modern Warfare.
Nice.
Following an Xbox. But yeah, I saw that. I'm like, wait, what's going on? And I heard the music. I'm like, what?
You're like, what? No, I don't want any part of this.
I'm like, is he okay? Should I screen record this and show it to the authorities? Or?
Yeah, do we need to report this? Is this bad? I don't know. What is 911 in Washington State? I don't know. Is it the same?
I just appreciate the effort put into that. That is the respect. Like the little things of a video that mean nothing. The effort you put into it. It's like, all right, cool. That's great.
It's been a tradition now for years. It was just one of those, like, let's have some fun with it. Before we move into the end of the show, into our after show here, Kim's pulled a couple live questions. If you have any last minute live questions for Jamison, please drop them into the live chat room. Kim will pull them aside. But Kim, what you got?
Maybe we'll do one more live question. Quickie question quiz.
Yes.
Crew member of the week.
Thank you for reminding me.
Let's see. Question from Matthew. Matthew says, Jamie, have any shoe companies or brands applied your criticism or suggestions given in your reviews to new products, or been upset over anything that you have said?
Wow. Last part, yes. Upset, absolutely. Do I want to get into it? Let's just keep it at yes. I've upset some brands, some major brands. I upset the brand. Leave it at that. As far as them applying what I critique on the shoes, I would say yeah. I've had some designers reach out and say, "What about this?" Show me some prototypes from like, the Convara 13 or whatever. They're like, "Hey, how does this look?" I'm like, "Add a pull tab. Come on." So the small thing, but yeah. I mean, they reached out. Skechers, Saucony, Hoka. I'm sure they've reached out to you and have contact with you where you like, this sucks, or that add this. But yeah,
it's been kind of an interesting byproduct of shoe reviews. Is that you do have designers and stuff. We've had like a Brooks designer on our show. He's a local, he's a badass runner, local guy that works at the company. And anytime I post a review, he'll always reach out and be like, "Hey man, saw your review. Yes, we were aware of this problem, or we're going to work on this in the new Like, it's kind of cool to see that these brands do watch these reviews. Like, it's one thing to think you're doing a review for a general populace, which we do them for the viewers, but brands do come in and watch the reviews, and I love it because you're the same. We don't hold back. Like, we are blatantly honest in our reviews, and good or bad. And some of the feedback has been interesting from some brands, but that's part of I guess that's part of the joy, is like, if you can get a rise out of a brand for like calling them on maybe something that wasn't designed well.
But that's also like a good way to know that you're watching a review on an authentic, genuine channel.
Yeah.
Like everything is not going to be, this is wonderful.
Yeah.
Like if you're watching reviews somewhere and everything is always wonderful, they're probably getting a wonderful paycheck.
This happened just in the last couple of days. DJI released their new Pocket OSMO, their new Pocket thing. And in my mind, I'm going, it looks exactly like the first one. I can't imagine it's much better than the first. Have you been watching any of those videos, Jamie? Have you seen any of those?
They added a new little knob.
Basically like one or two little changes, right? Like a new knob and a couple maybe features, but
sensor?
I think it's a bigger sensor. So maybe the quality is increased a little bit. Still the same size factor and all that. But the reviews that I've been seeing online are everyone's just like, is this the next thing? This is the best camera ever, best sports footage ever? And I'm going, everyone's getting a paycheck. Because it's not the best.
Yeah,
whatever.
it's definitely at that point where it's a very scary thing when to get products, the company has to like you, right? So I call it what it is. I call it selling out. If you want more product, you want to keep getting fed from the machine, positive. But like I feel like you and I definitely take that genuine approach of saying, all right, if good comes out of it, great. But if it sucks, I'm gonna say it. And if they can't handle it, that's a loss that I'll have to take. But there's definitely video. I mean, it's across YouTube, reviewing shoes, reviewing products, video product, all kinds of things. I mean, there's always YouTube's become a platform for businesses. I feel like commercials and advertisements are out the window now. Like we are the word, we're the voice. So it's up to every person to decide if they're going to be what they want to be. But yeah, I've had brands and everything that kind of got upset, or I've had brands ask me how much do I charge for a review.
Happens a lot.
It's like, it happens all the time.
And I tell them, I usually just say, no, thank you. Or I'll say, I'll review the shoe, but I'm not going to take money from you.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like shocked. They're like, well, what? I'm like, are you that shocked? I'm thinking, how many reviewers are taking money from you? You know?
That's the first question on my head is, oh, okay, so who are you paying?
Yeah.
Which is, of course, never anything I can ever ask, but it's one of those like, I knew it was going to happen eventually in the shoe space, but it's just a matter of time. Speaking of time, a lot of this conversation, we're going to probably move into our after show with Jamison.
Yeah, we have a couple questions left for the after show.
Yeah, it's okay, Jamie. You get to stay with us. You get to stay with our after show, and that's going to be a lot of fun.
Yes.
But there's two things that we're going to do before we wrap up the show here with you. First, I want to, second, we'll do the quickie question quiz, which is something we do with first-time guests every time that they join us for the first time on the show. So that's exciting. But first, Jamie, where can people go to subscribe to your channel? Where can they go to support you on Patreon? Where can they go to follow up and see what's next and all that good stuff? Where can people find you more?
All right. Well, the main platform is YouTube. I am Jamison Michael on the YouTubes.com/Jamison Michael. Instagram at Jamison Runs. I might change it to Jamison Jogs one day, but as of right now, it's Jamison Jogs, Jamison Runs. And yeah, I think that's kind of where I'm at. Instagram, YouTube. You can follow me on Xbox at Jamison Runs if you play video games. You play video games, Ethan?
I'm a PS. Yeah, we're both PlayStation or Nintendo Switch people. I'm so sorry. I had an Xbox, but it ringed, man. It ringed out years ago. So I've been on the PS4 and PS5 wait list and Nintendo Switch.
Yeah.
So I'm so sorry.
On the YouTubes, man.
You have a gaming channel?
No, I want one though. I want to start one. I do have a Twitch, and it's just Jamison Runs as well. But I haven't really been. I'm still kind of like scared to make that jump.
Dude, you're yeah.
That's us also.
We both have Twitch channels that have yet to have anything happen to them, but we're both sitting here going.
You have it. You don't really promote it yet. You're like, this is kind of.
Are there runners that game? Are there gamers that run? Like, is there a crossover, or are we just starting from scratch? But we're very excited.
And your Patreon as well.
Yeah, and your Patreon. Where can people go for that?
Yeah, it's Jamie Reviews. Patreon.com/Jamie Reviews. I have it on my description in most of my videos down there. It says support the 2020 documentary. And that's where it all really pretty much goes, just to make it happen. So, yeah, first I want to thank those who are already supporting me because I really do appreciate it. I always think it's kind of cool that like someone who doesn't know me personally feels enough gratitude or just appreciation that they'll give $1 from their hard work, whether it's just $1 or $2 or whatever it is. It's like it's kind of cool to think like, wow, like this is real people who believe in me. So I appreciate them. So thank you guys.
Absolutely, my friend. So before we wrap up our main show here, just a reminder that we do an after show. Our after show, we get to keep Jamie for a little bit longer, and we get to ask all the residual questions. That is for our Patreon subscribers, much like Jamison has with his. But it's patreon.com/thegingerrunner. For as little as $1 a month, you get access to our after shows. We also go live every single day. We call it Daily Brew, and that is for the $3 level and above tiers. And we are at episode 178, I think, because we've been live streaming
Maybe
all year.
179.
Maybe 179. But we get to do something very fun that we get to do with first-time guests here on the show. It's called our Quickie Question Quiz. So, Jamison, basically what happens is we just rapid fire through very easy questions. There's like 10 of them. You just answer with the first thing that comes to your mind. When you are ready, give us a thumbs up and we'll rage.
Okay.
Boom. What was your very first race?
Junior high school 100-meter dash.
Favorite place to run currently?
Lady Bird Lake in Austin.
Road or trails?
Road.
We did invite Jamison to run Tiger Claw this year, and I think his response was, fuck that. Something along those lines. Favorite bucket list race?
NYC Marathon.
Favorite running movie?
Dreams Go to Die.
That is the correct answer. Guilty pleasure TV show?
Family Guy.
Ooh. Favorite pre-race meal or pre-run meal?
Oh, Lunchables. The pizza ones. Pepperoni.
We
just talked about Lunchables on Daily Brew like a couple days ago.
That's so funny. Favorite post-race meal?
The rest of the Lunchables. I'll finish it off.
The last question. This is going to be a hard one. Probably the most difficult question of the entire interview. What are your current running shoes?
All
All 200 of them.
Well,
what is the last pair you ran in?
The UFO Sports. With the strap. Sport Mobile Velcros. No, right now. Probably some Skechers. I think the Zebra Skechers. I've been rocking those for a while now.
Those are pretty clean, man.
Cute.
Yeah, I don't get any of the zebra stuff, but I do enjoy that zebra print. I think it's
come on, Kurt. Kurt, you watching this? Give this man some zebras. Stop playing games.
I get Skechers, and man, every time I get them, I'm like, they're doing something right here. And every shoe, I'm just like, yeah, these guys need more street cred, and it's so good. But every color version I get is like, aw, this isn't great. And then I see your zebra ones, I'm like, I want the zebra. Congratulations, Jamison. You passed our Quickie Question Quiz.
Yay.
Thank you.
100%. So again, to those watching live, go follow Jamison Michael. He is fantastic. I have his link at the top of the description there over to his YouTube channel. Go subscribe. We can't thank him enough for being on tonight's Ginger Runner Live, episode number 331. We're going to move right into the after show with him. Before we do, though, we like to recognize members of the community who go above and beyond, who go out there and crush their goals. We call them our GR crew members of the week. Kim, who is this week's GR crew member?
This week's GR crew member of the week is Torgeir, and Torgeir is in northern Norway. This past weekend, Torgeir ran a 12-hour race, which was a 3.5-mile loop. Torgeir posted some amazing photos over on Discord, including, as he mentions in his comment, at the end, the Northern Lights had an awesome dance show for us, and the pictures were gorgeous.
Torgeir, congratulations on your amazing performance at the 12-hour. I mean, running 3.5-mile loops for 12 hours. I've done it once. I enjoyed it more than I thought.
Yes.
But it is mental. It is a mental game for sure. And your pictures are insane.
There's
Northern Lights.
There's Northern Lights.
Come on.
Beautiful.
So that's going to wrap up episode 331. Congrats to Torgeir on being our GR crew member of the week. And thank you again to our wonderful guest, Jamison Michael. Again, his YouTube channel is in the top of the description. Go subscribe. Otherwise, go to patreon.com/thegingerrunner. We'll see you in a couple seconds for today's after show. Thank you so much, everyone. We'll see you next week. Get out there, train as hard as you can, virtually race harder, and party the hardest. We'll see you guys next week. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Ginger